Hi, good afternoon. This is Sherry from MassRealty, and this is another Real Estate 101. We have Andy, is it Pagliarulo? Is that
Pretty
correct?
close. Pagliarulo.
Pagliarulo from Transit Insurance Agency. And we're going to ask him a few questions about insurance. So hi, Andy. How are you doing today?
Doing well, Sherry. How you doing?
Good, good. Do you mind introducing yourself a little bit about yourself? Where are you from? And,
Yeah, I grew up in Wilmington. I'm living in Medford now with the family. We had an office in Boston since the 40s that my grandfather started. My father took that over, and now it's myself and my father. We relocated into Somerville. The big dig came in, and they kind of bought up the neighborhood. So we were forced out recently a couple of years ago. So now we're in Somerville.
So how long have you been doing insurance? Like for a while?
I've been doing it personally for 16 years.
16 years. And you have your own business, right? This is your own business?
Right. My dad and myself own it, correct.
Okay. So you pass it on down to the next generation, right? So
well, we'll see. The oldest is 4. I don't think she has a big interest in it yet.
Yeah, not yet. So let's start out with the questions. What is the first question? Like, what is a premium and what is a deductible?
A premium is what you can expect to pay for the annual fees for the insurance company to offer the coverage. The deductible is your share of that, what you could expect to pay before the insurance company pays out on a claim. So if you have a $500 deductible and you have a $1,000 loss, you pay the first $500, and then the insurance company pays the following $500.
What kind of coverage should I get if I consider if my family is growing and changing?
So you should consider is maybe a personal umbrella policy. It's a liability policy that goes on top of the underlying home and auto insurance. They usually sell them in increments of about $1 million a piece, and it's relatively inexpensive for what you're getting. $1 million can cost you usually around $150 a year. So it's a pretty inexpensive way to protect your assets and things you've accumulated over the years and protect your family.
Okay. Do you think if I'm putting a new addition to my house, right, and doing remodeling, do you think I need extra insurance coverage?
On the homeowner's policy, I'd say yes. When the policy is first issued, the insurance company uses a couple factors to determine how much building coverage that you need: square footage, number of bathrooms, the type of furnishings, things like that. So if you go and add on a 500 square foot addition that they're unaware of, it's possible that your property is no longer insured for the replacement cost, and you may not get the full replacement amount. Should there be a fire and unfortunately the place burns down, you could be underinsured, and the insurance company would expect to pay that portion of it out of your own pocket.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. If I'm a recent graduate, right? Should I get some sort of policy for myself? Am I started at the workforce?
Sure. Even if you don't own property, a lot of people are renting coming out of college. Renter's insurance is a good way to protect yourself with the liability coverage and to protect your contents coverage. A lot of people aren't aware that if you move into an apartment and the pipes burst and all of your contents are damaged, they don't know that your landlord's not responsible to reimburse you for those. A renter's policy, pretty inexpensive way to protect the items like that.
Mm-hmm. That's good to know. What about, is it wise for me to shop around with different insurance brokers to get the best deal?
Yep, that's what we actually do. We're an independent insurance agency. We work for a couple different companies, and we shop around for our clients so they don't have to do that. It's always good to shop around. It can be good or bad. A lot of the companies now use length of time with your prior carrier as a rating factor. Mm-hmm. So if they see you bouncing from one company to another company every 6 months or a year, they may not offer you the best premium as compared to someone who's been with the same carrier for 4, 5, 6 years.
Yeah. So for example, I have MetLife for 3-4 years, right? Mm-hmm. And then I was shopping around for a new car. It's car insurance, right? So car insurance, they look at my driving record, but they, for some reason, it's so much higher. I went with Geico. I went to the new Geico recently, and I saved almost $100 a month over. Yep. Yeah. So I don't know, how come MetLife couldn't give me that same,
All the carriers about 10 years ago, insurance went competitive. Prior to 10 years ago, you could expect to pay the same rate if you had the same car and lived in the same town as a person with the same driving record. Since it went competitive, they take into consideration 100 different factors. Each company uses their own rates, and they can set their rates with the division of insurance. And sometimes they're higher, sometimes they're lower. Nobody's always going to be the highest. Nobody's always going to be the lowest. It's just, they watch the trends, they see how much they can charge for a premium, and then they try to offer a little bit lower to get the business.
Yeah, so I did save $100 for my car insurance.
Right.
We had, 2 drivers, 2 cars, but yeah, I mean, $100 for a family of 5, that's like grocery money, you know what I mean? So
Right. Yep.
Yeah, so
that makes sense.
Yeah, and then I think years back I had insurance, like a homeowner's insurance claim, right? So it was a claim for some sort of water damage, and they gave me $10,000 back for they made a check, right, for the claim. Yep. But then when it was time for me to renew the insurance, they said that they won't continue to renew it for me because of my claim. So it was very frustrating for me, right? And then I had to go somewhere else to get my insurance, homeowner insurance, you know what I mean? So so I don't know, is it because my claim was high, you know what I mean? And then I had to go shop around for another one, you know what I mean? So it was very frustrating for me.
Understandable. Yeah, it's tricky. Some companies, one loss, and they want to wipe their hands from you. Other companies I've seen pay out big money, but if it's only one loss, they keep you on the books. What I have noticed, if they start seeing lots of little claims adding up and they start to see a pattern, that's when I see most of the non-renewals. But the carriers that we write for are usually pretty good. If it's one loss and it's nothing you could have done to prevent it. A tree fell on the house when it blew down. It's not like you left the place vacant and got vandalized, something like that.
Yeah,
if it's out of your control, if it's out of your control, I've seen the carriers for the most part.
I think it was it wasn't like a big company, I would say, but I don't recall what happened. It was very frustrating. Then I had to go shop around for another insurance. But then it was like, what's going on? I never filed claims. That's the point, you know what I mean? So my husband took care of it, you know what I mean? But it is what it is.
Yeah, it's frustrating. I can imagine people say, I've been paying insurance for all these years with no claims, and then all of a sudden I have one, and they want me to go somewhere else. And again, it's all underwriting with each company. Each company's different. The company that we write for tend to lean towards, realizing what was an accident and what could have been prevented.
So, Roberto, you have any questions for Andy?
Actually, I do. Yeah. Like, how harsh is the process, like, to actually get an insurance claim? Like, do you have to, like, how many things do they actually go and check, and they don't check, and what do you have to do in order to get a claim?
To file a claim?
Yeah. Like
a lot of the companies are pretty quick with the technology now. They all have apps. You can fill it out on your phone. You get into a car accident, you're not thinking of what kind of info you need to take down. You can open up the app and it tells you, take a picture of the license plate, note down the location, note how many occupants were in the vehicle. Because when you get into an accident, your brain's not always there. You're thinking, oh my God, what's gonna happen? What's gonna happen? You forget what you need to do. Those apps come in pretty handy, and they have them on the homeowner side as well.
That's awesome. Yeah. And like, what would be like a worst case scenario for not having insurance with you guys, or like, what do you cover? What do you take care of?
As far as, the insurance agent, we're liaisons between the insured and the carrier. If you're having a problem getting some sort of answers from the carrier, you'd come towards us, and then we'd work. So we have a pretty long-standing relationship with each carrier, and we'd see what we can do to get things going in the right direction.
Cool. And if I don't have insurance, like anything like can skyrocket, or like any kind of prices or claims they might have, like would be like, how easy is it for us, or like for any user, to actually make a claim?
To file the claim, it's pretty easy. You can do it again on the phone. You can do it over the phone or on the app, or call us if you're uncomfortable doing it. And we can actually file for the insured with the carrier. Of course, they'll have to contact you with specific questions that we may not be privy to, but we can get it going that way too.
That's great. Thanks.
So, like, what if someone, like, I mean, like a lot of people do have, insurance now, like, homeowner insurance and car insurance and so on. But what if someone, like, like a car accident, the guy doesn't have insurance, right? You think that claim is harder to process, or they just have to file? I mean,
it all depends on what kind of coverage you have. If that person doesn't have insurance, and you're talking about an automobile insurance claim, There is coverage called uninsured and underinsured coverage that you can purchase on your own policy. So if for some reason somebody hits you and does $50,000 in damage, but they don't have that kind of coverage, your policy would pay up to the policy.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah.
To go for that. And those parts are relatively inexpensive to add on. So if you're just shopping for the lowest price, you just want the absolute minimum, you can take that coverage off. But I mean, it's silly not to have it. People in New Hampshire aren't required to carry insurance.
Yeah.
So since we're so close, some of us are so close to New Hampshire, it makes sense just having it. You don't know who's coming over the border, who has insurance, who doesn't have insurance.
That's true. Actually, I need to look at my own card.
I
think I do have it. I think I might have to ask you about that. And
Sure.
Actually, I actually have a weird question to ask you. I don't know if it's not.
Sure.
My husband and I were talking about it, right? So, is there like some sort of insurance you get when you get hit by lightning, right? Is there some sort of insurance for that?
As far as auto insurance or homeowners?
Well, let's say I get hit by, knock on wood.
Yeah.
I get hit by lightning,
on,
right?
On yourself, you get hit by lightning?
Yeah, let's say knock on wood. I get hit by lightning, right?
Yeah, that would be your medical insurance. That's something.
Really?
Medical.
So there's not like a certain separate for, isn't there something separate?
Right, that wouldn't be covered under homeowners or auto unless it hit the house and did damage to the electrical system. That would be covered on most policies.
Okay.
Or if it hit the car and did some sort of damage, the auto insurance would kick in for that. But if you're playing golf or walking down the street and you get hit by lightning, that's something that medical insurance.
Okay, medical. All right. So because I thought we were talking about this because we're watching some kind of show and they were like, oh, what if you get hit by lightning? It's like he said that there is some separate insurance you get if you do get hit by lightning. I guess it doesn't really it rarely happens, but if you're like west somewhere in Michigan,
yeah. Hopefully you have the insurance premiums paid up.
I think so. Yeah. So, do you know anything about pet insurance? Like, how's that? Do you know how that works?
I do know how pet insurance goes. You buy it when the pet is younger. So, there's no pre-existing conditions that you're aware of. And it pays subject to a deductible for certain things. I don't think it pays for checkups. But if the dog tears a knee or a ligament, it may cover most or all of that operation. Subject to your deductible. We don't really offer it because I've heard through your veterinarian or through the ASPCA, you can get a pretty solid policy and they have a lot of experience doing it. And anyone that asks me about it, I'd point them in that direction. So
if the dog is older, then the premium must be higher, right?
Right, just like life insurance.
I guess so, yeah. We had a dog before, but my husband did, but I don't think he never got insurance for it. But my girlfriend has a younger dog, and she said that she's thinking of getting pet insurance. But I think they just have to add on to their homeowners insurance or something like that. I don't know. That's what she told me.
I don't think homeowners insurance would cover that. They'd cover it if you had a dog and it bit somebody.
Oh yeah, so that happened. Yeah, that happened. Yeah, so that was an incident of that, I think.
Right, if it's medical, that's something that wouldn't be covered under a regular policy for the homeowner.
Yeah, so there's so many questions about insurance. Now I'm actually
that's what we're here for.
I'm really educated now. Think about getting hit by lightning, pet insurance, and so on, and homeowners insurance. Roberto, do you have any more questions or?
Yeah, actually, what's your advice on what should you look for in a home insurance?
On home insurance?
Yeah.
People tend to shop by what they want to pay per month, which doesn't necessarily make sense. You want to shop for your needs and then see if the payment works out for you. Just like cutting coverage on an auto policy. You can't say I want to pay X amount of dollars, but to do that, you need to remove collision coverage. You need to take off the uninsured, underinsured coverage. You don't want to, search for a policy that way. You want to shop by need and not by what you want to pay per month.
What's your best-selling home insurance right now?
The carriers themselves?
Yeah, what does it cover or what doesn't cover?
Oh, what it covers. Usually the 17 named perils, that's on a basic policy. If you go to a special all-risk policy, which we tend to offer, unless the policy language specifically excludes it, there's coverage there. So it broadens the amount of perils that there's coverage for.
So do you have like major carriers that you get the insurance through, like MetLife and Geico? And
Yeah,
stuff?
safety insurance and travelers insurance. We've been with both of them for, I think, close to when I started working, so about 15 years. So we have a pretty good relationship with them. I've seen them step up and pay claims when they don't technically need to, but they think it's the right thing to do. We had an insured that her neighbor's tree fell on her property, and she went and paid the neighbor for the tree damage and to remove the tree. She didn't have to do that, but the insurance company actually stepped up and reimbursed her for doing that.
Oh, that's good. Hopefully her insurance claim didn't go.
Yeah, well, yeah. It was a long time, about 10 years ago. I don't think it did, but it wasn't a huge claim. So
Yeah. So yeah, is it Traveler used to be? Is it Premium? Used to be Premium? Premier.
It used to be Premier Insurance was
Premier Insurance.
Travelers.
I used to have them myself too.
Yeah. That was their Massachusetts brand, because at the time competitive rating was coming into the market, and a lot of companies weren't sure how it was going to work in Massachusetts. So if it didn't work, a lot of companies created a Massachusetts-based company, which is Premier in their case. And if it didn't work out, they could have just shut down Premier instead of having to shut down all the Travelers.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds good. So thank you so much, Andy,
Sure.
for helping
Glad to be of
us with the
service.
questions and stuff. So, we hope to talk to you soon, and you take care of yourself.
You too. Anytime, if we're not in the office, give me a call on my cell or email. We have 24-hour access, so we'll get back to you pretty quickly.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. I appreciate it.